Right off the bat, I'll say that this is probably the weirdest video I've done yet. Then again, this video was suggested to me by a viewer in a comment about 2 weeks ago, and when I read it, I just felt obligated to make this video. And so, here you go. Today's video is going to be all about the Brazilian car industry, its history, and its car market. This is Autophil, and I hope you enjoy this video. The Brazilian auto industry had its humble beginnings in 1919, when Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, established the Brazilian subsidiary of his manufacturer. 2 years later, Ford Brazil would open its own production facility there, and would soon be followed by General Motors in 1926. Another 2 years later, Ford opened an industrial town in the Amazon rainforest called Fordlandia, which would end up getting abandoned in the near future. In 1956, one of the first Brazilian cars began production, it being called the Romy Isetta. This was an Italian ISO Isetta being built under license that ended up receiving government approval thanks to it helping establish an automotive industry in Brazil. It was produced for a whole 6 years, which was rather impressive for a single generation car at the time. Toyota soon entered the Brazilian market with the locally produced, sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Bandeirante, a variant of the J40 Land Cruiser with a Mercedes diesel engine. Volkswagen also entered the market in 1959 with the Type 2, having opened a factory in Brazil and began producing the car there. Around the same time, a Brazilian entrepreneur called Sebastiano William Cardoso started producing a light armoured 4x4 called the Tupi. In the 60s, two new Brazilian manufacturers came to life, those being Gurgel and Puma. The former mainly produced SUVs like the Savante. Other well-known models from that company include the Ipanema, X15, Carachas, and BR800. Sadly, Gurgel no longer exists today, having gone bankrupt in 1994. Now then, what about Puma? This company made and still makes sports cars to this day. These include the GT, GTB, AMV, as well as the more modern P052 and Lumi. Other Brazilian manufacturers include JPX and their SUVs, as well as Marco Polo and their passenger buses. To this day, many car companies, not just from America, but also Europe and Asia, have produced cars in Brazilian factories. Mercedes-Benz produces buses there, Stellantis produces cars there, heck, even John Deere produces combines and tractors there. Even companies all the way from China come to Brazil to open factories, produce their cars and sell them, not just there, but everywhere else too. With all that said, Brazilian has quite an automotive industry. But what about the car market? I've already talked about the Brazilian automotive industry, but how about their market? The Brazilian car market is as much of a hustle and bustle as their automotive industry. Many companies sell their cars there, from European manufacturers to Asian manufacturers. Volkswagen, Fiat and GM arguably have the greatest possession of the market, with Volkswagen keeping the top spot in the best-selling car category for over 2 decades. In terms of actual models, the Brazilian market is home to many cars we don't really see here in Europe, for example. Let's talk about a couple. One of my favourite Brazilian exclusive models has to be the VW Gol. This was an entry-level budget hatchback sold by VW from 1980 all the way to 2023. The Gol had multiple body styles, not just a hatchback. These include a saloon called the Voyage, an estate called the Parati, and their ute called the Saviro. During its over 40-year-long lifetime, the Gol went through 3 generations, each based on a generation of the Golf. Its first generation even had a GTI version. As far as I'm aware, the Gol was discontinued due to new safety laws in Latin America. After all, the small hatchback had a horrible Latin NCAP score of just 1 star without airbags, or 3 stars for the airbag-equipped version. The VW Gol ended up being replaced by a budget version of the Mark 6 Polo called the Polo Track. Another Brazilian exclusive car is the Fiat Fastback. This is one of Fiat's many offerings only sold in Latin America. A coupe SUV version of the, again, Brazilian-only Pulse crossover, the Fastback is positioned as Fiat's flagship model in Brazil alongside the European 500e. Despite its intimidating design, the Fastback comes with a tiny 1-litre engine, which is just odd for an SUV. Even the Citroën C1 had a bigger engine. What is this? As of 2023, Abarth has produced a sporty version which you may expect to have a bigger engine, and yeah, it does. It has an ever so slightly bigger engine measuring 1.3 litres and producing 180 horsepower. How exciting! Moving on, we have yet another Brazilian-only car, that being the Volkswagen Kombi. Yes, I know that this is yet another Volkswagen, but this one is rather interesting. This is the Brazilian version of the T2 Type 2 minivan, sold only there from 1973 all the way to 2013. It had little to no changes during its 40-year-long lifetime, with the only real change being with the grille in the 90s. That's really it when it comes to Brazilian exclusive cars. There are more out there, like say, the Fiat Uno, but then again I've already talked about it in a different video, so go check it out. That's really all I have for you. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not like and subscribe? I also wanted to thank @Ginkui Main for suggesting this video. By the way, if you've been keeping up with my channel lately, you'll see that I've been posting a lot of shorts lately. This won't stop. I will be posting shorts every now and then, so look forward to them. If you have any video suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section down below. This is Autofill. See you later.